Okay, guys, so the next step in the solve strategy is to plan a strategy. So the plan means how to solve the problem without even using the numbers. In this case, we're testing your ability to use math in the higher level thinking to solve a problem. So when I think of planning, I think about two things. First of all, think about the football coach who is creating a plan for what his players are going to do before they do it so that they can try to get a point. Other ways that we plan in our lives is we make a to-do list and a checklist of things that we need to do so we can stay organized and stay organized. So that's two examples of planning in the real world. And usually with planning, we like to write things down. So creating a plan, I like to write things down. So you take a big task and you break it up into small little tasks. So for example, here's this plan on how to clean that messy room. So to clean my room, I'm going to pick up my books, dust my video games, make my bed, and wipe my study desk down. So now, my objective was to clean my room, clearly. And so I broke it down. I said, to solve this problem, I'm going to do all these things, even though it's a lot of work. And I know I'm going to be really tired at the end of the day, but it's going to be worth it because I've solved my problem right here. So let's look at different problem solving strategies. And some of you guys recognize this from way back in the day, like say elementary school. There's many ways to solve a word problem. You can draw a picture, you can guess numbers, you can guess a number and then check if the number's correct. You can make a list, you can make a table, so you can act it out with a classmate, you can work backwards, you can write a number sentence, you can use objects. And so basically the flexibility of your math class is there are certain strategies that we're going to emphasize that you try to use, but because different students learn different ways, there is more than one way to get the same answer. And some kids, they're more hands-on, which is like using an object. Some kids, they're a little more artsy, which means they can draw a picture. Some kids, they really like the mental math and the stuff so they can do a number sentence. So they're just different ways to solve a problem. Sometimes your teacher will suggest a way like making a table because she wants to practice a skill that you're specifically learning in that classroom. But most of the time, it's a lot of flexibility and anything goes. Sometimes the problem itself will even tell you how to solve it. Hint, hint. So in that case, now that you have a problem, this is a time where you can now collaborate with your classmates. So once again, this slide is back. You can always talk to your classmates. Your teacher prefers you to talk to your classmates about this because sometimes your classmates already know how to solve that problem or already know a strategy. Google doesn't really help much in this case. If you want to look up a strategy and see how it works or see a video model of it, I might make a video tutorial of all that stuff later, but not right now. Remember, the worst case scenario is if you're classmates and you really have no idea what to do, you can always ask a teacher for a little hint to try to solve the problem. But remember, eventually it's all on you guys, and you've got to figure out how to solve your own problems because we're not going to go to your house and clean your room. Okay, so let's review the original problem that we had. And of course, I didn't put the higher level convoluted CP/M vocabulary words in it. It's just simply look at the drawings and draw figure 4 and 5. Of course, I'm using, so that's the S part. The O part is all this. I know that this is figure 1. I know this is figure 2. I know this is figure 3. And based on my observations, I know that in the first triangle, I see one triangle with 1 row, second triangle, 2 rows, and 2 of triangles. The third pattern has 3 rows of 3 triangles. So what strategy am I going to use to solve this? Obviously, draw a picture because it's saying that I should draw the picture. So I've got to use that key verb draw in my strategy. How am I going to do that? I'm going to write it down. And so with a prompt, the prompt for the L, the planning one, is to start out with the sentence starter to solve the problem. So To solve the problem, I will, in this case, I'm going to use the verb draw figure 4 with 4 levels and figure 5 with 5 levels because I found the pattern that the figures and the number of levels are the same. It's like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. And it's kind of like a no-brainer for some of you guys but what I do want to emphasize is that you do write it down, or you tell your classmate or you tell your teacher how you're going to solve the problem. Because if you can't explain how to do the plan, you're not going to be able to do it. So you need to be able to explain how you got to the solution, not just like, oh, but I know there are a few kids with like the computer in their brain, but the real part of a Common Core is explaining things, and with a lot of writing. So remember the key prompt to solve the problem, and always use the word because. Since you're explaining something, if you see the word explain, because should be there. Okay, so with that, we'll go shift to the next problem. I do want to add one more thing about this. Notice that in this strategy, I could be flexible. Like, what if Mrs. Downham asked me to draw figure 100 or figure 500? That would be a lot of drawing, but I could still use the same strategy. So the key to the strategies is they can be flexible with any math numbers that are being given to you, any quantities that are given to you. But now that I got a strategy, I'll recommend that you shift it to the next video, which is validate with the numbers. See you soon.